Good afternoon, or evening, or morning, or whatever time it is when you happen to look at this. I'm going to read you another story from the series about my heaven. Not perfect heaven, perhaps. Not for some people, anyway. But it's good enough for me. And this story is from the third book in the series. And there it is. It's called Good Gracious. It's even more stories from another place. Anyhow, we shall begin. This is called the Scroat Hunter. The cloud floated gently above the Elysian fields. Lovely day, said Dick dreamily. Perfect, said Debbie, snuggling in beside him. Gorgeous, said Willow, curling round their feet. But look at that utility cloud. It's coming this way, and the pilot doesn't look very experienced. The small cloud weaved about as it approached and manoeuvred alongside. Sorry to bother you, said the pilot, but I had to speak to you when I saw the dog. I wasn't sure whether dogs come here or not. Of course they do, said Dick. It wouldn't be heaven if those you love the most weren't here. That makes sense, said the pilot. I've just arrived, and I'm not up to speed with all the rules yet. Besides, I'm worried about Bob. You better make fast and tell us about it, said Debbie. We're from the Special Operations Office. We might be able to help. Thank you, said the pilot. My name's Roger. I was a botanist, and I was killed by a fall right at the moment of my greatest discovery. Oh, that's a shame, said Dick. Do go on. Well, said Roger, I was climbing up Swiddle Edge on Helvellyn, and I saw it, down in a little gully. I've spent years looking for it. The lesser scroat, or nitwilly, as they used to call it in Patterdale. It was thought to be extinct, but there it was in full bloom. I was going to be famous. I scrambled down and took some photos, but then my foot slipped and I went over the edge. Instantaneous broken neck. Didn't feel a thing, and the next thing I knew, I was up here being interviewed by St. Peter. Didn't bother me much, except for not getting the credit for the nitwilly, but it's Bob I'm worried about. He climbed down to me and he won't move. He'll guard the body until someone comes, even if he starves first. And I don't want that to happen to him. I take it Bob is your dog, said Debbie. What breed is he? Border collie, said Roger. Black and white, quite a handsome chap and very faithful. My best friend, without a doubt. How about me going down, said Willow. I can talk to him and see he's all right. It might be useful to ask Agnes for help. She understands these things. Right, said Dick. We'll let Michael know and have a word with Agnes, but you go down and see what you can do. Bob growled softly as the blue merle approached. It's okay, Bob, said Willow. I'm here to help. Come on, I'll show you what to do. How did you know my name, said Bob. And who are you? I've come from up there, said Willow, indicating. Roger's up there, and he told us about the accident. Oh, he sends his love, by the way. I'm not leaving him, said Bob. He's still my man, even if he is dead. All right, said Willow. But we have to let people know where he is. They'll be wondering what happened here. And they like to have proper ceremonies and things. We don't have far to go. The mountain rescue hut down there will do. Tell you what, you stay here and I'll go. Willow had no difficulty with the door, but raising the rescue flag required a little ingenuity and patience. Fortunately, a passing hiker passed close enough to be persuaded by insistent barking to look in the right direction and see the body and the dog. His departure was suitably rapid. Willow climbed up and rejoined Bob to wait for the rescue team. Agnes was rather intrigued by Roger's story. That's interesting, she said. The scroat grows in Upper Wensleydale, but they call it the maiden's friend up there. Yes, madam, said Roger, but that's the greater scroat. I believe both plants are a cure for... Oh, well, he blushed. Well, a cure, anyway. Said Agnes. Not needed up here, then. "Beg pardon, Agnes," said Michael, "but what about Bob, Roger's dog?" "Of course," said Agnes. "I think faithfulness should be rewarded. You know what to do. Let Willow handle it. I have a feeling that might be appropriate. Now, Roger, your camera and the pictures of the lesser Scroat are safe. With just a little nudge, not really an interference, your discovery will make you posthumously famous. Sorry it couldn't be while he was still alive. Bob will be joining you here shortly, but don't expect his undivided attention. He might just have other things on his mind." A small cloud floated gently above the Elysian fields. "Lovely day," said Bob dreamily. "Gorgeous," said Willow, snuggling closer. Hope you enjoyed that one. Thank you. Hello, good people, and thank you for joining me. Here we go again with yet another story from the same series and from this book, which is the wrong way around for me, but it looks like it says "Good Lord." We know what they're all about, don't we? Hope so. If you didn't by now, you should do. Anyway, this story is continuation, and it's called As Green as Grass. "Hey, Mike," said Gabe. "I've just come from the paddock. Some dude's been at my grass. Looks as though they used a scythe or a lawnmower. It was good stuff as well, top quality. It ain't fair, man." "But who would pinch it?" asked Michael. "You give it away if anyone asks." "Are you sure it's been nicked?" "Well, it sure ain't there anymore," said Gabe. "And Agnes's sheep wouldn't crop it in straight lines. Come and have a look for yourself." Sure enough, Gabe's latest crop was sporting a shorn path up the centre like a runway for light aircraft. "Hey," said Gabe, "it's got bigger since I was last here. We'll have to mount armed guard. It must be those imps from down below. Diabolical liberty, that's what it is." "Well," said Michael, "I don't know about armed, but we could sort of keep an eye on it. We'll sort out a roster and watch it round the clock. It'll have to be volunteers, though. Your crop is not exactly essential, or even beneficial to most of us. Ask Kevin and Tracy. They don't mind lounging about doing nothing, and Dick might give you a hand, especially if he can persuade Debbie as well." It was during Kevin and Tracy's watch that the next swathe went missing. Kevin had to admit they'd dozed off, and although they were sitting right next to the grass, they slept through the whole thing. Dick and Debbie began a search for clues, with the help of Willow, who sniffed at the grass, ran up and down the shorn area, and returned to the assembled crowd. "Right," she said. "It was a short, fat guy, wearing a green suit." She paused and sniffed at the grass again. "He was carrying a green bag and smoking a pipe." "How can you tell all that, Willow?" asked Debbie. "I know you're a border collie, but are there really signs for all that?" "Well," said Willow, "being a border collie, I can read signs you can't. But this time it's easier than that, 'cause the little bugger's over there asleep under the apple tree." Sure enough, under the tree, a little green mound was gently rising and falling, with a gentle raspberry sound of a satisfied snore. The group stood looking down, and Michael summoned up an official-sounding cough. The little mound stirred, the snoring stopped, and a small, rather disgruntled face peered out. "What the bejeebers is all this, then?" he demanded. "Sure and can't a body be having 40 winks without being mugged by a gang of cutthroats and all?" "Gang of cutthroats?" said Michael. "I'll have you know I'm Michael the Archangel, General of the Heavenly Hosts, and not to be trifled with. I believe you have been appropriating certain property. I want to inspect your bag. You, my man, have been nicked. You're under arrest." "To be sure, you'll need your army to arrest me," said the little man, holding up his fists. "Come on, then, who's going to be first?" "Just a minute," said Debbie. "There's no need to get overheated. You," she pointed at the little man, "you're a leprechaun, aren't you? What are you doing here? I thought all the leprechauns lived in Ireland." "Hey," said the little man. Don't you be calling me a leprechaun. That sounds like a tropical disease. We're known as the little people. Seamus O'Flaherty it is to you, madam, and I'll have you know I'm a tourist. I'm here on holiday. Though truth is to tell, I don't know why I came here. The big folk get in the way of a body and wake him up when he wants 40 winks and all. Hang on, said Michael. Tourist or no, you've been at Gabe's grass. Well, and why not, said Seamus. To be sure, this stuff grows wild as in the glens of Kilkenny where I live. We feed it to the cows, it makes the butter spread itself, and the cows are always happy. Well, I have to grow it, man, said Gabe. I worked hard to get this field like it was. Well, now then, said Seamus. It's always an honourable sort of chap that I'm being, so if you would just pass my bag across, I'll be giving you some compensation. And if you're ever in Kilkenny, just drop by and I'll show you how to grow it properly. Dick hefted up the bag, which clanked with the sound of many bottles. Seamus opened the top and drew out several dark-coloured bottles. Here you are, he said, passing them round. A drop of the black stuff to wet your whistles. Here's looking at you. Swigging noises were soon replaced by contented burping noises, and then the chorus of the gentle raspberries of contented snoring. Dick woke when Willow began licking his face. To be sure, he said, but that was a good drop of the black stuff. Oh, be jabers, said Michael, waking up. To be sure, the stuff has been after getting to the lot of us. I'm only hoping to goodness it'll be wearing off by morning, or to be sure himself'll be having something to say. And what's more, said Debbie, that little fella Seamus, sure he's off and gone. Ah, come on, said Kevin. Sure, it's not yourself believing in little people now, is it? Okie dokie. You've now met Seamus O'Flaherty, better known as Ribbars. Thank you very much. Hope you enjoyed that.